Don't look at me all surprised. I told you it was going to be an unboxing video. We've got all this to go through. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of XL Garage. As it says in the tin really, this episode is going to be an unboxing video, which is a little bit different, obviously not as involved. It's just going to be me talking, going through a few bits I've got, showing them off to you and telling you kind of plans to get the 86 up and running, which is what all those parts should allow me to do. It's also quite an easy video to make. So there we have it, got all of this to go through. So why wait? Let's just crack into it, start getting boxes up on the bench, start opening them up, going through them, explaining what they are, what they allow me to achieve, whatever, all that stuff. Let's dive into it. Come on. Right, small disclosure, none of this stuff is sponsored. Really wish it was, of course. Would save me a ton of money. So we're just going to start going into it. And we start off with the first manufacturer to hand, which is the rest of Sicky's stuff. So right here, I have quite an important bit from them. Doesn't look like much, but it is one of their starter motors. Obviously, quite important to actually get the car started. So that's what this is. It's quite a nice piece. It's meant to be quite low profile. It bolts up into the block like that, and it kind of just holds itself quite tightly in there. So it's quite nice. Next up we have their 4-inch T56 shifter relocation. I told you that I wasn't going to be using the original shifter, and this is the replacement. It moves the shift point about 4 inches back, which should land it directly in the center of the old shift point for the GT86. Simple as bolting it down to the top of the gearbox, making sure that's in its little cup, and there we go. There's a little extension rod to go along with it, and that's just a threaded rod. Lovely, two very simple pieces. So in the next episode I think I'm going to get into fuel system parts. That's what this all is. I've already shown you off the line. It's just PTFE AN line, along with some lovely fittings. To go along with that, I shouldn't have to actually upgrade the injectors. Obviously, I've just got the basic LS3 injectors. They're going to be plenty for the kind of power I want. And I technically shouldn't have to update the fuel pump. But despite that, figured why not? We've already got it all apart. Let's go and grab a Deechworks DW300. And that should just go in place of the original fuel pump. Flows about 340 litres per hour, so that's nice. Doesn't need any kind of additional power draw or anything, so that should be plenty for the LS. And finally, along with that, just gotten for one of these little fuel starvation flaps that go into the original hanger. We're going to see all of this next episode as we fit this, and run this line. That should give us plenty of fuel flow for the LS3. Moving on. I think I'm going to save the best thing for last, and that's the wiring harness. So now we're going to move on to the accessories. Got a few exciting bits for that. Let's start off with something aesthetic, shall we? Whoops. Here are a pair of Holley's Tool LS valve covers in a black finish. Of course, these are going to be replacing the original horrible blue ones that I have. This is obviously the side of the oil filler, and it's just got these little standoffs to hold the coil pack, so no big ugly coil pack bracket. They just bolt directly to this. Comes with all the hardware. It's all nice and baffled on the inside. These are going to look really nice on top of the engine. So I'm excited for these. These are one of probably the most exciting bits because they make it look nice. Along with that, not the most exciting thing in the world, but I've got a whole load of OEM coil packs. I had a look for ages about which ones to get, and lots of people say that the aftermarket ones can be a bit flaky, so just to get OEM ones, so that's what I did. Likewise, what all of these are. And then I just got some OEM plug wires. So there we go. Ignition system sorted. And obviously, you know, this engine was a total core. I had literally nothing that came with it. Didn't have any wiring whatsoever. So I had to get some core pack harnesses, which I just went for Holley's ones because they're nice. They already look quite nice. All this braided protection on them compared to the original LS ones, which have like a horrible plastic bracket that goes over them. Nice and easy. Just plug in and bolt down. Right, let's move on to the big pieces, shall we? So in these two boxes here, I have more bits from Holley. Again, wishes are sponsored, but it's not. The first being, went for one of Holley's front drive accessory kits. This being the water pump housing. Water pump goes in here, got an outlet here where the thermostat goes, so it bolts onto the engine. It also holds the alternator, which sits here. Obviously needed all these bits for the car to run and have power and water circulation and cooling and so on. I went with Holley's because I don't need power steering, and a lot of them come with power steering, or the belt routing requires there to be like a idler pulley or power steering pump. Sickie have, funnily enough, just bought out one, which is a bit cheaper than this, I must admit. Would have been nice to have gone for that, but it literally only came out after I placed the order for these bits. So alas, that's that. The internals for the water pump, and as I said, that just goes in there. Nice and simple. But I'll put it all together as per the instructions, so it can all go back in its box for now. Speaking of the alternator, again, another piece that I probably could have just got OEM, but alternators are always generally quite expensive. So I went, obviously, with the Holley kit, and it comes with a nice black alternator, which, you know, looks fantastic. Never had a fancy looking alternator. Hopefully it'll generate some power for us, keep the car running. Nice. And being an entire accessory drive kit, came with everything you need. Came with bolts, obviously, to fit it all. Came with thermostat, came with a belt, tensioner, everything. So that's all good. And of course, previously I told you about the Savage AutoWork air conditioning kit to fit into the GT86. With all the adapters for the AC pump and the car and so on. But speaking of the AC pump, bosh, that's what we have here. Not only a few additional bits in general, got a steam port kit from Holley, which just connects the two front steam ports. Got a different rotatable thermostat neck. But most importantly, one of these parts is the air conditioning pump. And this being an entire kit, once again, there's no reason I shouldn't be able to have fully working air conditioning in the GT86, even with a great big engine that doesn't belong there. Here we go, even this came in black, because obviously, why not? Looking very posh. Marvellous. And finally, let's leave the best for last, shall we? I told you I was going to do it. ECU. Now, I don't think I'm going to have to give any clues to what ECU or wiring harness I went with when I put down this box. That's right. Going Haltech. This being the most important part of pretty much anything I'm showing you in this entire video, we have here the Haltech Elite 2500. Always wanted to go with a standalone. A couple of years ago, the go-to was Motec. Obviously incredibly expensive, proper full-on race car stuff. But it was just known to be the kind of plug and play solution. Always wanted something plug and play. I'm not a wiring whiz or anything, but after reaching out to a few companies, there wasn't really anything kind of available that I needed. So I decided to go Haltech. There are a few solutions that use original GM wiring harness, ECU, and then a little kind of CAN bus translator. Obviously with the Haltech, I don't need any of that. This can do it all. It can handle the GT86 CAN bus. It can, being an Elite 2500, it can run a V8, no problem. So that's the ECU. I can easily configure and give that a base map all by myself. So that's very exciting, means I can get the car started by myself. I won't tune it on my own, obviously. I'm not a tuner, I don't understand these things, so just gonna get it base mapped on my own. And with that, we have a few more pieces. Let's start off the big one, shall we? So in here is quite literally an entire plug and play wiring harness for the LS3. To plug into every sensor, every terminal on the LS. This will totally run the LS engine. This will obviously plug right into the Elite 2500, and then the Elite 2500 just needs to have its CAN bus integrated with the GT86, which is a really simple process I wasn't aware of up until a few months ago, where essentially CAN buses all ran off of 2 wires. If you can connect the 2 wires coming from the Elite 2500 into the GT86's CAN bus system, you can tell the Haltech that it's running a GT86, everything will work. The gauges, the fuel pump, the push start, the air conditioning, everything. So obviously I'm not going to get all of this out and unravel it all out on the bench here. There's no need for that. We're going to go into that in a full-on episode, all to do with wiring. But I've got a final couple of bits that go along with this. With all of this, obviously, one thing you need to run a car is O2 sensors. So of course I decided to go with Haltech's wideband kit. This runs off CAN bus. It's wideband, so it's not narrowband. Means you get the full-on air fuel ratio. This is a dual channel kit for V8s and having 2 O2 sensors. Comes with the O2 sensors themselves. This can plug into the Haltech and be used on its own CAN bus system. The Haltech Elite 2500 has 2 CAN bus channels. One, of course, which will run the car, and the other one which will run all the CAN bus accessories, such as this. And obviously, as you can tell with all of this, I'm not going to use a digital dashboard. I want to use the original GT86 dash, keep it nice and clean, keep it nice and OEM looking. I need a way to display oil temperature, water temperature, air fuel ratios, bits like that, so I know the engine I built isn't about to nuke itself. I wanted to keep it nice and subtle, so I don't want a whole bunch of gauges hanging down the A-pillar, don't want them sticking out the dashboard over where I'm not going to see them. So the last thing I picked up from Haltech was CAN bus gauge. As you see there, it's got a little screen on it, runs off CAN bus, so it'll daisy chain off of the wideband sensor. This can display anything the ECU is showing, so anything from, as I say, all those parameters I just said, oil pressure, oil temperature, water temperature, literally everything. And it's nice and smart. It just got to sit on the dashboard and I'll be able to see everything. And there we have it. Obviously, with this great big wiring harness, it's not going to be as simple as simply plugging it all in, pressing the start button and away it goes. There's loads more bits to do. There's some internal bits that need to be connected. Obviously this is just for the LS. It has nothing to do with the GT86 chassis. So obviously you need to wire in a few bits, obviously power and grounds and the throttle body connection itself. For that, I've literally went into massive depth, scouring through the GT86's wiring diagrams to work out everything I need to know for it. And I can probably flash that up on the screen now. Obviously this is a very rudimentary kind of diagram for my own purposes, just to say what wire in the GT86 is going to be corresponding to what wire on the Haltech harness. Obviously this is also what I used when I went through and cut out the big AC1 connector in the engine bay, making sure that none of that was absolutely necessary. And really, along with all of that, should have everything to finish the car, get it started, get it moving, give it a base map, get it onto a trailer to go get an exhaust made, and then eventually get it tuned. And there we have it, the unboxing video. It's complete. Hope you enjoyed this one. Obviously, bit of an easy one, bit of a quick one. Lets me give you guys a video now, get another video started tomorrow, and you don't have to wait so long towards the next one. So that's fun and hopefully exciting for you guys. Next episode, we're going to dive into the fuel system. Need to get the new pump installed, need to get that little gate thing installed, need to get the new line ran so we can get the LS fed with lovely overpriced petrol. I can then start also putting the interior back together, kind of getting the car back in one piece, so to speak. Following that, I'm looking forward to the end of the month. I've got a whole week off work, so I'm going to be diving into some of the bits that we unboxed, getting those in there. I'm not sure whether to start with the wiring harness or the accessory drive, or, I mean, who knows? Maybe both. But I'm looking forward to that. That's all we're going to do for this episode. Stay tuned for next time. Hopefully it should come out a lot sooner. We're diving into some of the new parts, get the fuel system sorted, buttoned up, and move on to something else exciting. Hope you enjoyed this one, despite the fact of being a diversion from the usual content. It's always fun to go into new bits, find lots of new shiny parts that this thing's going to get, and hopefully you found some of the bits about the wiring interesting. If you did, I mean, heck, if you're doing a swap like this for yourself and you want some information from me, feel free to drop me a message, or well, feel free to leave a comment on this video, drop me a message on Instagram, drop me a message on any forums you might know me on, and I mean, I'm happy to share any information that I found out and that you might find useful. I don't really care to keep any bit secret. The more information out there on the internet, the better, in my opinion. If it can help someone with their own build, or own swap, own car, own project whatsoever, then I'm all for it. Anyway, there we have it. As I say, drop a comment down below. What's your most exciting bit? Is it something aesthetic? Is it something plumbing-y? Is it something electronical? Personally, I really like the Haltech, so that's just me, I'm sure. Anyway, catch you guys in the next one. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye for now.